Well, hello everyone, and these are the answers to the 6th Star Pupil quiz. And the first question I asked you, I showed you this flag and I asked you what it represented, and those are the Olympic rings, so that's the flag of the Olympic Games. And the Olympic Games should have been taking place this summer in Tokyo in Japan, but obviously they've had to be postponed. The next question I asked you, literature question, Farmers, Bogus, Bunsen, Bean, and they appear in Fantastic Mr. Fox. There's the front cover of Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. I can't find my copy at the moment, but it's a short little text and good fun and raises a lot of issues. The next question, question 3, music question. In 2019, which band had a hit with the song Memories? And that was Maroon 5. And you might remember that song, maybe you sang along to it in the car or at home. Then question 4 was the space question. I asked you how many planets there are in the solar system. And there are 8. There used to be 9, but Pluto is no longer officially a planet. So we've got Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn and Uranus. And I did say you could give yourself some bonus points if you could name all the planets, and an extra bonus point if you got them in order. Question 5, books. A book of maps is called an atlas. And there's my trusty atlas, my illustrated world atlas. And the thing about atlases is they do often go out of date because countries change, boundaries and territory changes. But it's always nice to just have a look through an atlas and know where places are and know where they are in relation to other countries. And it just maybe helps us understand the world a little bit better. That science question where I showed you my magnets, my 2 magnets, and I asked you what would happen if I put the 2 north poles together. And as you can see, they won't touch. They'll tap each other, but they won't touch. They will repel. And actually the same if I put the 2 south poles together, they will repel. Like poles repel, but opposite poles will attract. So there, just a little lesson on magnets. Question 9 was I apologise, I missed out question 7. Who wrote A Series of Unfortunate Events? And that was Lemony Snicket. And I've got 3 of those books, all in one big volume here. And I think they've also been made into a film, but I think it's always books are best. I mean, a lot of books do get made into films and people forget about the books because they go and watch the film, but sometimes worth reading the original book first and then watching the film and comparing. Now question 9, sport, and I asked you the name of the athletics event, which is 5 different challenges, and that's a pentathlon. If you think pentagon, 5. So the pentathlon has got 5 different events, and I thought maybe you could research what the 5 events were, and you could maybe a little challenge for you come up with your own pentathlon, because I know a lot of you will be having sports days at this time of the year, so maybe you could come up with some ideas for your own virtual sports day. Question 10, words. I asked you what words could go before house, ground and time to make new words, and the answer was play. Playhouse, playground, playtime. So all sort of things that you might find or experience in school. Geography question was question 11. What is the highest mountain in the British Isles? And I said you could have an extra point if you knew where it was. And the mountain is Ben Nevis and it's in Scotland. But I thought, again, if you want to do a little bit of research, you could find out exactly where in Scotland, and maybe you could find out some facts about Ben Nevis. And maybe you've even been there, or some of your adults at home have been there. Maybe they've even climbed Ben Nevis. Then the question about the giant panda, and I asked you what the giant panda's diet was, and here is the giant panda having his lunch, or it could be his dinner, it could be his breakfast, because his main diet is bamboo. I think it makes up 95% of the panda's diet is bamboo. Question 13, and I asked you the literature question about the Jumblies, that poem that I talked about in Star Pupil earlier in the week. And the Jumblies, in the poem by Edward Lear, went to sea in a sieve. Not a very sensible vessel to go to sea in, I think you can imagine, full of holes. But the Jumblies gave it a go and they went to sea in a sieve. And question 14, and I showed you this symbol, and I asked you what this symbol meant mathematically, and that's the greater than or the more than symbol. And we sometimes talk about the jaws of the crocodile. They're always eating the bigger number. And those of you who do follow Star Pupil during the week, a Monday is always Maths Day, and in a couple of weeks' time I'm going to do some activities on more than and less than, and also on rounding. Okay. I then asked you a music question. The tuba, the trombone, the French horn and the trumpet are all in the brass section of the orchestra. So again, I'm sure you'll be familiar with those sounds. Or the tuba, that big, deep, quite big big instrument. I was once on a plane and I was travelling next to somebody who was a musician. He had his tuba with him on the plane, and the tuba had its own seat on the plane because it was a bit too precious to put in the hold of the plane. Then I asked you about that film Happy Feet, and I asked you which creatures were in it. And of course, as you know, or you might know if you've watched a couple of these quizzes, we always like to mention penguins here at Star Pupil. We're big fans of penguins, and that of course was a film about the dancing penguins. So again, a lovely film for maybe just pass a couple of hours on an afternoon where you've got nothing else to do and the weather's not so good. I then asked you to complete the proverb, a friend in need. And a friend in need is a friend indeed. And there are some minions just showing how they're helping each other out. And basically what that means is that when things are difficult and a bit hard, when you're in need, that's the time that we really know who our friends are. Then question 18, geography. Bees are found in every continent in the world apart from Antarctica. So obviously it's very, very cold in Antarctica. Perhaps that's why bees don't thrive very well there. But bees are found everywhere else. And as we know, bees are absolutely essential. They're so important for our environment and for our sort of general life cycle. So, don't be scared of them. I know they can, if you're out having a picnic or something and there's lots of bees. Wasps tend to be the ones that really bother you more. Bees do tend to just sort of not bother too much with humans. They're too busy. They've got enough to do, making honey. And literature, a true or false, non-fiction books are factual. That's true. Non-fiction factual. So atlases, which we've just looked at, or books about a topic, encyclopedias, etc. They're all non-fiction and they're all full of facts. And then finally the picture round, and I showed you this symbol, and of course this is a symbol to do with recycling. Reduce, reuse, recycle. And again, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this, and I'm sure you're all very good at making sure that as where you can, you don't throw things away that can be kept or reused, and we reduce our amount of plastic that we're using. So those are the answers to today's quiz. I wonder how you got on. I'm sure you did really well. And again, lots of different topics there. So a bit more literature this week, no history this week. So, I'd just like to mix it up a little bit. So I mentioned in the first quiz, but just in case you didn't get that, on Tuesday of next week, I will be posting a special quiz just for P6s, or Year 6s and P7s, so those who are leaving primary school. Anybody, of course, can have a go, but it's going to be particularly aimed at them. And I said that will be on Tuesday. So again, hope you've had fun, hope you have a good weekend, and I will see you soon. Okay, bye-bye.